One of the things that has been astonishing to witness over the past few weeks is the way in which Nikki Haley has been completely destroying her political future. I don't know whether these are bad ideas coming from her campaign advisors or if she's coming up with them by herself, but she has been doing herself an incredible amount of self-harm. On several occasions, Haley has tried to capitalize on the political prosecution, or rather persecution, of Trump, saying that everything that follows him is chaos, as if he's responsible for the extremely creative and dubious prosecutions that have been brought against him. Haley has made delusional statements about the results of the Iowa caucus, claiming that her distant third place finish showed that this was now a two-person race. Now, you remember that Trump received 51% of the vote, DeSantis got 21%, and Haley got 19%. And Trump's historically huge margin of victory made it clear that this was no longer a race at all. DeSantis acknowledged the truth of this and dropped out and pledged his support for Trump. And Haley should have done the same. But instead, against all good sense and reason, she decided to continue on. Another disaster for Haley was two statements she made that really ticked off the Republican base. She talked about changing personalities depending on which state primary was coming next, reinforcing the view of her as inauthentic, willing to say whatever she needed to get votes. She also said that the New Hampshire primary would correct the result of the Iowa caucus, insulting and annoying Iowa voters. Then, in the run-up to the January 23rd New Hampshire primary, it became clear that she was courting votes from non-Republican voters. The open nature of that primary allows non-Republicans to cast votes in the Republican primary, and there were reports of Democrats and independents deciding to vote for Haley to help her defeat Trump. So although Haley came in about 10 percentage points behind and was awarded 9 delegates while he got 13 since it's a proportional allocation, exit polls showed that a lot of her support actually came from Democrat voters rather than Republicans, showing that she had very little support from the Republican base. Then, when it came to the state of Nevada, Haley made two very questionable moves. She focused instead on South Carolina, completely insulting Nevada voters by saying it wasn't important and not bothering to put any effort in there. Also, rather than participate in the caucus, which actually awards delegates, she decided to participate in the primary, which doesn't allocate any. Haley claims that this was because the caucus requirements were unfair and rigged for Trump. But I think she had a very different motive. I think that she wanted to avoid another catastrophic loss to Trump. So rather than compete against him directly in the caucus, she decided to run in the primary where he wasn't competing, hoping for a significant win there, which she could then use to boost her credibility. Because then she'll be able to say that, well, Trump won the caucus, but I won the primary. However, that strategy backfired disastrously, as rather than voting for Haley, over 60% of primary voters chose to vote for none of these candidates, an extremely embarrassing result that clearly displayed she lacked the support needed to justify remaining in the race. Even with all this, Haley refuses to acknowledge the obvious and continues to dig an even deeper hole for herself. She recently came out in favor of the recently defeated border bill, claiming that GOP senators should have supported it and worked with Democrats to improve it, despite the fact that the bill did nothing to actually secure the border and was instead a wish list catering to the open borders crowd. Polls show that in the last few months, Haley has been becoming more and more unpopular with GOP voters, so much so that even if Trump was forced out of the race, resulting in a brokered convention, I believe the GOP base would much sooner let bygones be bygones with DeSantis and hand the nomination to him rather than to Haley. Her tone-deaf statements and stubborn actions over the last few months have pretty much dropped a nuke on her political future, and it's all her own doing. As I record this, it is a day of the South Carolina primary, and poll reports suggest that Haley will likely perform poorly here as well. Make no mistake, her race is already over. She has no path to the nomination. This is just a waste of donor money and an unnecessary distraction when Republicans could and should be focusing on how to defeat Biden. So the question is, will she finally accept reality when the results are released? Or will she continue in the delusion and stubbornly refuse to drop out and endorse President Trump? Only time will tell. Anyway, those are my views. Let me know what yours are in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.